Hello, beautiful people. I want to talk about the term a disturbance in the force. Have you ever felt like there was a wobble in the energetic field? Have you ever felt like there was a wobble in the energy of the universe? Have you ever felt like your nervous system was on a high alert? Yeah, did you just ever feel like your senses are taking in so much and not know exactly what it is? Well, I really want to talk about this today because I just came through this just last night. I felt something was up. I felt the wobble. I felt my nervous system on high alert. I checked in with all my siblings. They were all fine. Everyone's having just this grand life. And I was feeling really different than I usually feel. So this morning I did a longer meditation and I asked the question, what is this? What am I aware of? And something came up that I wasn't expecting. Yet it was like, oh, of course. So during our awakening journey, we have a lot of areas that we detach from. And what I got in my meditation was that I was starting to do another layer of detachment. So as I checked in with my siblings, I noticed that everyone was doing really good. Everyone was really doing well in their own section and space of where they were. And I felt happy that they were all thriving. Yet I also felt very disconnected from them in a way of like, I feel like our family cording has been released. And that created a wobble. That created a wobble for me, and it felt uncomfortable. Detachment is uncomfortable. But as we get higher and higher on the rungs of our awakening journey, we're going to just keep continuing to detach. Now, I am in another area of detachment. My office is getting packed up, and I'm moving my office upstairs, and our whole house is kind of in a big wobble. And I'm in this subject of just detaching and being neutral. Being neutral no matter what's happening out here. And being neutral even though I'm not feeling this deep connection to my extended family anymore. Being neutral even though I don't have the same things that define fun or enjoyment for me anymore. So let me tell you a little story. Last night, it was date night. Me and my husband do something every Wednesday, and I was trying to think of something to do. And it's summer, so I was like, oh, we should like go see live music. We should go out to dinner and sit on a patio. We should. And then when I really felt into it, everything felt kind of wobbly and everything felt uncomfortable, and I didn't want to go do any of it. So we wound up just going for a short bike ride, grabbing a burrito, and then just coming home and sitting on the couch together. And it was quiet. And I really, really, really enjoyed the quiet. I so enjoyed the stillness with him. And that was the wobble. The wobble was I was not willing to receive the peace and the stillness and the silence in my life. I wasn't willing to receive my true joy because to someone else or to someone out here, it looked kind of boring. It looked like I was just an old person just sitting in a rocking chair, just wanting to be still. But the reality is, it felt so good. It felt so good just to sit still and receive the peace of quiet and stillness and the non-doing and just a neutral activity, non-activity really. So when there's a disturbance in the force, never ever doubt it. Never doubt the disturbance you're feeling in your force. Okay, whatever that means for you. Like, because when you ask a question about that, when you kind of go deep and listen, it'll give you what you are going through, what you are facing, what growing edge you are coming to. And it's super important to feel that wobble, to go within and open to it. And so when I opened to this possibility of like, oh, I'm detaching from the forms and structures and beliefs around what I think is fun, or what I believe to be fun is, what culturally has told me what fun is. And I feel like I'm also detaching a bit from my extended family, my siblings. I love them dearly, but I'm feeling kind of like a decording from them. I'm feeling like I'm becoming more neutral. Once again, there's just more forms and structures leaving my field. And when something leaves that has like defined you for so long and has structured your life for so long, that can be a wobble. That's a wobble in the energetic field. That's a disturbance in the force. And so when I reached out to my siblings and I heard that everyone was okay, I was just like, part of me start to judge myself. It's just like, what am I feeling? Why am I reaching out to them? Like, what is this? Like I started to put myself down being like, oh, my intuition's off, but it wasn't, because by tuning into them and sending that text and getting that they're all fine and they are just having this really thriving life right now without me even knowing about it, like it helped me tune in this morning to be like, oh, we're detaching, we're decording in somewhat of a healthier way, because we come from some family history of codependency. So it's just that it is different. It's just that it is different than what we've defined life to be in a past moment and from our past programming. So yeah, I grew up on the Jersey Shore. Like, I have all this programming and all these beliefs and all this form and structure about like what summer fun looks like. Now, last year, I have to say, I was probably the happiest I've ever been, and that was the year of lockdown. That was pandemic, lockdown and quarantine, and we couldn't go anywhere. We had to make the best of where we were, and we really couldn't go anywhere. And I was really happy about that. And I was thinking about that on the couch last night. How it was just it was peaceful because there was no other options to go out there. Now everything's opened up. There's all these options. And part of me has a little should voice that says, well, you should want to go there. You should do that. Like, that's fun. But as we detach from forms and structures and what fun looks like for ourselves, it can be uncomfortable. It could give us a very energetic wobble and just feel like there's a lot of space. Okay, when forms and structures happen, we're in a container, basically an energetic container. But when we start to detach all the forms and structures, and when we detach from forms and structure around family and what fun is and what gives us joy, all that, the confinement and all that's just, we're in a way larger space, and it's like, whoa. So now here I am feeling very, very neutral today. I live by a lake, so I went up to the lake and I just looked out, and there was these storm clouds coming over, and everything seemed very, very still. And I was just relishing in the neutrality of nature. And the neutrality was like, this is where my contentness and peace is. This is where I can have a sense of just fulfilled joy, is in this neutrality. And so what I have found lately, some different series of events have made me realize that when something has a lot of polarity, or if I'm around people that have a lot of polarity or strong points of view, I feel exhausted. Lately, when I think about going out into the world to see music or go out to dinner, I feel I'm sensing a lot of polarity for some reason. And I don't even want to be there. So sitting on my couch and feeling the peace and feeling the stillness and silence, it didn't feel lonely. It didn't feel boring. It felt so good. And when I was willing to just receive that, the wobble calmed down. The disturbance in the force calmed down. So it's kind of like, would we be willing to receive our own detachment and awakening process? Because joy is going to go through a lot of transitions of what it looks like. And would you be willing to be in the present moment and not define that, like, now this is what, now the only thing I find fun is sitting on my couch. So I have a tendency to go into like defining everything. So I'm looking at that. So let's together not define something just because we're having a good moment. Let's not define every future moment from this moment we're having right now. So let's do this together. As we detach, know that you are not alone. Because as you detach, sometimes it feels lonely and it feels wobbly and it feels like you are just floating in the abyss of space because there's no more form and structure. And that can feel like a wobble, and it can feel like a disturbance in the force. So last night, it felt good to sit on my couch. It felt good to just be still and not do a lot. And who knows what today or tomorrow will bring. But I do know that as I go through my awakening process, that neutrality feels the best. And if there is a strong polarity for one way or the other, that doesn't feel very good. So I've been noticing that more and more lately, that neutrality, and that I really just love being in nature for this reason. Nature feels so neutral to me. So beautiful, people. Let me know. Am I the only one feeling this way? Or are you feeling a little bit of this too? And let's help each other through this. And if I can answer any questions or offer some awareness, I'd love to, because I know this can be a wobbly time, this detaching from form and structure and feeling that disturbance in our own force and connection to source. But really what's happening is our connection to source is we're creating more. We're creating more of ourselves through source, as source, and we're becoming more of source energy, and less of a 3D form and structure. And I think I'll end on this, but one of the most uncomfortable things as we were riding our bikes home last night was that I was admitting to my husband that most of 3D reality and things that people do and go do for fun just doesn't interest me anymore. And I feel weird. I feel boring. I feel, especially on social media, you see everyone having this great time. And I know we really have to transcend that. And we don't know really what's happening. But there's like a little part of me that gets a little like, why can't I just enjoy enjoy some of this 3D life? And I can eventually, but it's just, it's going with the flow of where the neutrality takes me and being in the moment of it. But there was a little grief last night around, I wish I could just go into, I wish I could go backwards and be like normal. And we can't. And there's a grieving process there, I think. There's a bit of a grieving process. So we march forward. We march forward in our awakening. We march forward in detaching and see where that leads us. You know, joy becomes ecstasy, and ecstasy all of a sudden becomes just this beingness. Ecstasy is this, becomes this like intense peace and beingness. And I had this sense this morning that it was like just being source energy, exploring. Oh, that's what it is. Oh, cool, we're going here. Oh, going this way. You know, letting go of those forms and structures. It can be challenging. But let's see if we can not resist our own awakening. Let's see if we can really allow what's unfolding and really let the wobble and the disturbance in your force, let it tell you something. It's telling you something. Ask the question, what am I aware of right now? And sit still, sit quiet, listen within. You may notice that it could be that you're in a phase of detaching from certain forms and structures. And that feels really uncomfortable at times. All right, beautiful people. Thanks so much for tuning in. And we're in this together. You're not alone. Namaste.